Okay, I admit it. You messed me up. You got to my head. I drove 4 hours to a Rolex AD to put my name on the list for a Rolex OP36 celebration dial, and then I walked in the AD and I choked, and I couldn't say that was the watch that I wanted. And no offense, it is your fault.
I don't understand why
What is up, Watch fam? My name is Michael. This video is sponsored by Caldera Lab. Your face is wrinkly and we need to fix that. Horrible news. This is our last dance together. So just, close your eyes, pretend you're in 8th grade again. You see that pretty girl across the auditorium? That's me. We're gonna have one last dance before this whole place explodes. AKA, Christian's coming back next week. Very exciting. I do feel like a substitute teacher that's kind of overstayed their welcome. And then, when you're really excited when your regular teacher comes back and you vent about the substitute teacher, you're like, she was nuts. She didn't really do anything. She just put a movie in. It was ridiculous. I had no idea what was going on. That's what I feel like. This is our last dance, so make it count. I never had that experience, like that beautiful last dance experience in 8th grade, but what I did have was the first love of my life, and I never dated, never got together or anything like that in high school. But one day I was walking out to my car after this small party I was at, and she stopped me and kissed me while it was snowing outside, and then I never saw her again, which is really weird. Actually, that's not true. I did see her again. It was with the now love of my life, Taylor, and I saw this girl at a gas station in my hometown, and she was in a monster truck, and she said, "Howdy, partner," and then drove off in an actual monster truck. It was really weird. Anyways, though, that's not what we're talking about at all today. Rolex, as you know, and Oris, to be honest, we'll talk about them. Rolex released 2 wacko watches, the Rolex OP Celebration Dial and the Rolex Day-Date Love Dial, Puzzle Dial. I don't know what people are calling it, but it says love where it should say the day, and then it says emoji where it should say the date, and then the face of the watch is enamel puzzles. I love both of these watches. I woke up at 4 a.m. for Watches and Wonders to see what was new and what was gonna be released, and I was like, hype. That's exactly what I wanted. I love the Oyster Perpetual case and bracelet, the Oyster bracelet. I think it's beautiful. I think it's a work of art. I wanted a crazy dial, like the craziest dial you could possibly make, and this is it. This is insane. And obviously, I knew it was gonna be a very polarizing watch in the watch world, and it is. Here are some Hodinkee highlights. I love Hodinkee comments. I think they're the best part of Hodinkee articles, besides the amazing writing. JDE Jesus said, ew. Gecko12 said, this watch is a week early April Fool's joke. La La Life said, it looks like they took the puzzle emoji watch and said, what if we also made a discount bin version? Rusty Nuts said, fugly and useless. And then finally, Watch Timmy said, what a tragedy. Colorful bubble dial, bubble emoji. Okay, mustache emoji. It's just so damn random. Bubbles? Come on. What a mindless and lazy concept. Will it sell? Of course. It's a Rolex. Who will buy it? Me. I'll probably be the one that buys it. Someone with more money than taste and flippers. I should have read the whole comment first. What's up with that pointless puzzle meme watch? Who will buy it? Consumers who easily fall into hype? Woman emoji. AKA hype beast and flippers. What next? Happy face emoji dial? So silly. What an upside down world we live in. That's why you go to the Hodinkee comment section. It's nuts. It's just the craziest world that you've ever been in. And then to all those comments on the Rolex forum, SJ24K brought up a good point. Rolex is too conservative and never does anything fun, creative, or different. I hate that. That's him quoting someone. He also quotes, Rolex is straying from its traditional, proven, classic ways with this silly stuff. I hate that. So this brings up a very good point. This is a crazy watch. It's probably built to be polarizing. It is probably a move from Rolex to get some attention. Someone even said they don't think Rolex is gonna even do this as a huge run of watches, just a tiny little run to get a lot of people talking about the brand. I could see that being true. Interestingly, I wonder what the status of this watch and the day-date will be 60 years from now. Because if I go, well, now probably almost 80 years back, if I look at the Omega Seamaster chronograph, the 321 models with the 321 movement inside, there are a bunch of different dial variations, and there's none this crazy, but there is one with an arrow at the top next to the 12, and I love that. That is the only Omega Seamaster 321 that I want because that arrow. But what's interesting is, that's obviously a very, very minor detail, and as we know, minor details, minor little flares from watch brands are what make collectors go crazy and what brings a lot of interest in watches. Because really, the base of people that want a Rolex want a boring Rolex. And I don't mean boring isn't bad, but white dial, black dial, blue, green, but even green's getting a little crazy. The colorful OP is what's considered daring. That's what the majority of people want, and I feel like people can also acknowledge like, hey, this is a special edition watch, it's super cool, it is a little out there, but it's special edition, that's fine. This, I feel like, is Rolex going past people thinking that, and people saying, this is a mistake, it's an incredibly ugly, gross-looking watch. Why would you ever want this watch? So on and so forth. But my question is, in 60, 70, whatever years, when these watches are still floating about, if people are trading them, after all that time, when Rolex has evolved a ton, the watch world evolved, society is totally different, will these watches have a rebirth in popularity? Will these be the flagship representations of 2023 in watches? Not in terms of high complications or anything like that, but in terms of where these brands were going to be daring with design. That I find very interesting. I was ready for that discussion. This video is sponsored by Caldera Labs. As you know, as you age, you get fine lines and wrinkles and all this stuff all over your face because you're getting older. My girlfriend Taylor said to me, oh, I love that when you smile, all the sides of your eyes get wrinkly and it like extends out because you're so happy all the time. And I was like, oh, that's okay, great. I guess I'll never smile again considering I'm getting very old. But there is an answer to that and there is a solution. It is from Caldera Labs. And how do I know this? Well, there was a clinical trial with Caldera Labs where 9 out of 10 men using their products experienced smoother, younger, healthier looking skin. Smoother, healthy, younger looking skin obviously leads to higher self-confidence. You make a great first impression. People are like, wow, look at how glowy and glossy his skin is. And even better, today we have an exclusive offer from Caldera Labs for 20% off some of their best products. All you have to do is use our code Theo and Harris. Caldera Lab creates high-performance men's skincare products by combining pharmaceutical-grade science along with nature's purest and most potent ingredients. And if you want a little guide to their website, let's look at the Regimen Bundle, a twice-a-day routine to transform your skin. Inside the bundle, you'll find the Clean Slate, the Base Layer, and the Good. The Clean Slate is where you start your day. It's a balancing cleanser that uses gentle plant-based cleansing, leaving all skin types exceptionally refreshed. The Base Layer is a nutrient-dense fortifying moisturizer that hydrates your skin and absorbs fast, leaving you with a matte finish so you can start your day confidently, which I actually would love considering my skin is always incredibly greasy on these videos. And finally, there is the Good. Your go-to at night before bed and a clinically proven multifunctional serum that helps your skin look tighter and smoother, as well as to help reduce visibility of wrinkles and fine lines. Caldera Labs is also focused on sustainability, which is pretty cool. They pride themselves on clean ingredients and doing right by their customers and the planet that we live in. Caldera Lab is a certified B Corporation as well as a member of the 1% for the planet. Through uncompromising craftsmanship, exceptional ingredients, and rigorous transparency, Caldera Lab is here to upgrade your skin and your confidence. If that's something that you'd like, you can check out the link in our description. Click that link, use our code Theo and Harris to save 20% off of your order. Good luck, let's look young. If you spend all this money on a watch that you consider to be your watch, your Rolex, the watch that defines you, the watch that you lived your life in, is it a watch like this crazy watch? And if so, when you are going to pass this watch down, is this the watch that you want to give your child? Do you think they'll really like this celebration dial versus a black dial or a blue dial or a green dial or a more plain dial? Because now you're asking another generation to be quirky like you. And I never thought about the fact that my child could be a total hardo who doesn't like fun color on their watches. And I'm being serious, I'm not joking. I also never thought about the fact that my grandson could also be a hardo, and there could be multiple generations disappointed with me because the family Rolex is this gumball machine. I never thought about that. That's a lot of pressure, don't you think? I never thought about the intergenerational trauma people are gonna have if I get the wrong Rolex. And then Christian and I got invited to speak, or really not speak, but join a Red Bar event, which is really cool, really fun. Appreciate you inviting us, Red Bar. That was awesome, ton of cool stuff. But anyways, they asked us what we thought about the new Oris Kermit collaboration, to which I was going to say, well, to be honest, the first thing I was going to say is, no offense, Oris, but I know this is tongue-in-cheek to the Rolex Kermit, but if it was really a Kermit, the dial would be black and the bezel would be green. This is more of a Hulk, but you have Kermit on the logo, so it's not perfect, but I love it. I was essentially just gonna say the same thing as I was gonna say with the celebration dial. I love that it's different. I think it's fun. I think it's zany. I think it's silly. But before I said anything, Christian jumped in and was like, I don't understand this watch. I don't like it. I don't know why you would ever want to have Kermit on the date wheel. It doesn't make any sense to me to be on a $4,600 watch, because now you're just essentially wasting money to be silly and funny. Like, is this the watch you want to pass down to your son and be like, oh, sorry, in 2023, I was trying to be silly and quirky because I collect watches. Is that the watch? And I was like, interesting. I never thought that far ahead. And I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I pictured me buying this watch in 2023. And then in 40 years, when I have a son who's the president of the United States and a doctor, and he just finished up lawyer school, if he was going to have a child and I was going to pass him down my watch, and I made this huge speech about how proud he made me in life, and I'm so happy he's gonna have his first child, and it's a little tough, but it's worth it. And then the next day, when he was looking at the watch I gave him, the date clicked to a picture of Kermit the Frog. What would he be thinking? Would he be like, that's so dad? Or would he be like, I hate this watch. I hate that my dad got a Kermit watch. I don't know. So anyways, this culminated while I was on my 4-hour drive to a Rolex AD. Why did I drive 4 hours to a Rolex AD when I live in New York City? The answer is because our friend Big Wrist John went to this Rolex AD one day on a whim, put his name down for a Rolex, and then got the call. And we were all like, you're actually gonna call from an AD that your Rolex is ready? And he was like, yeah. So now he has a Rolex Jubilee GMT, which is insane. So anyways, I decided to make the commitment. I wanted the celebration dial. I drove 4 hours hearing the generational trauma of my future children screaming at me, asking why I didn't get a 41mm date just. And then I got to the AD and I was like, oh no, this is bad because I have no idea what watch I want anymore. So I walked in, they greeted me. John is very connected to this AD, or not connected, I shouldn't say connected. He has a relationship with them. There's no special treatment or anything like that. There's really nothing special. It's just a regular AD. But John has a great relationship with them, so I was representing him and they were like, hey Michael, great to meet you. We love John. We talk to John all the time. So you're looking for a celebration dial watch? And I was like, to be honest, I don't know. And when I said that, the vibe in the room was kind of like, you're from Brooklyn, so you just drove 4 hours to tell us you don't know what watch you want. And I was like, yeah, that's actually exactly what I did. And then they invited me to sit down. They offered me a drink. I said no. We started chatting for a little bit and they were like, okay, so anyways, we're gonna get to business. What watch is it that you're looking for? And I was like, is the celebration dial, like, have a lot of people already requested to be on the list? And the woman was like, no, actually you'd be pretty high up on the list. So good chance that once we get him in, you'd get the call quickly. So I'll write down celebration dial. And I was like, yep. And she wrote it down. And then I said, actually my son really wants me to get a 41mm date just with a blue dial, fluted bezel, oyster bracelet. Can you do that instead? And she was like, sure. So she crossed that off and wrote that down. It's not actually what she wrote. She wrote 36mm black dial date just, steel bezel, oyster band, which is what I wanted too, but it's boring. And then I was like, great, that's it. She said, thank you for coming, drive home safely. I got up, walked out, spun back around, came back in and said, hey, sorry. I don't know why I said that. I do want the celebration dial. Can I get the celebration dial? And she was like, oh yeah, sure. So she crossed that off again and wrote celebration dial. And I was like, perfect, thank you. She's like, you're sure? And I was like, I'm sure. And she's like, you're sure? And I was like, no, actually, can I get the 36mm black dial date just? And she was like, yeah, of course. And then I left with that decision locked in, the 36mm black date just. And then it got even worse because I was like, oh, I should have got the celebration dial. And I was gonna go back in and I didn't. So I got my phone and I called my friend Ronnie, who lives close to the AD, and I was like, you have to go in and ask for the 36mm celebration dial watch because I'm going to ruin my friend's relationship with this AD if I go in again. I can't do it. So he was gonna go in the next day and ask. John reached out to her. He called his rep at the AD and was like, Michael wants the celebration dial. That's it, that's his final thing, that's what he wants. To which she replies, I will send him a follow-up message after I requested the watch. Hopefully he won't change his mind on and off, LOL. I never wanted that reputation, but that is the reputation I now have. So anyways, I'm on the list for the celebration dial. I love the watch, I can't wait to get it. And I'm basically joking, but I am interested to hear what you think about this generational thought, because it is kind of ridiculous. You should get the watch that you love and the watch that you want and wear it. And I'm sure your child is going to love a watch if you pass it down because it reminds them of you. But either way, I thought that was an interesting argument. Who knows? Maybe I'll get the Kermit watch instead. Maybe I'll get the Kermit, the Celebration watch, and the Love watch. That is the story about how I got on the list for a 36mm Celebration dial OP. We'll see if I actually get one. Chances I feel like are like 75% I will. But either way, I will then follow up with you in like 20 years and tell you if my child is a complete hardo or not, and if he likes to watch. The child part I'm joking about, but I'd love to hear what you think about what these watches will be perceived like in many, many years. I feel like the Kermit dial, maybe not the Celebration dial or the Puzzle dial, but the Kermit Oris watch in 60 years, people will be like, oh, that's fun, that it has that little character at the bottom. I think that's silly. But the rest of the stuff, I don't know. But anyways, I will see you all very soon with my partner in crime. He will be right here. I will be back in the right position of the frame, and I'll talk to you real soon.
Straps, as many of you should know, bring a whole world of potential to mix up your watch collection. They breathe new life into watches. They help you pull out different colors. They give them new personality. Straps can be very addictive. I know people with 2 watches and 10 straps because it adds so many facets to a collection in a fairly easy and fun way. So that's why they become such a part of the Theo and Harris culture and identity. I think we sell more exotic straps than almost anybody because I just love them so much and I love sharing them with you.